Hey everyone, welcome back to Office Hours here on Work It Daily. My name is JT, and I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes answering your most pressing career questions, whether it's job search, career change, issues with a boss or a coworker. I don't care what it is. If it relates to the work that you do or the work that you want to do, I'm going to try to help you. And of course, this is all brought to you by our company, Work It Daily. And if you don't know what we are, then you really need to take the time to check us out. We are the only online career coaching community. So this is a subscription-based service, very inexpensive, very affordable, that gives you the chance to get access to elite level career coaching. And you're able to do that on our private platform. As a bonus, you're also able to connect and work with other like-minded professionals who are dealing with the very same things you are. And that's pretty important, folks, because in my experience, if you really want to go far in your career, coaching is not a sign of weakness. It is a path to greatness. There is a reason that all pro athletes and all executives have expensive career coaches, because they work. Unfortunately, not all of us can afford those expensive career coaches. So that's why we came up with the Work It Daily solution. You're going to work with myself and my team of trained, proven experts, all trained by me. And you're going to be part of this amazing community of like-minded professionals who are sharing their ideas and their experiences, who are motivating one another. It's one of the most uplifting and useful uses of your time online. Way better than you kind of scrolling through social media, liking and looking and feeling bad about yourself. If you want to be productive online, you want to get ahead in your career, you join Work It Daily. And there's going to be a special discount for you all if you're interested today over the next 30 minutes, which my team will share for you in the chat. And that's because we now have two types of programs. This is brand new. We just launched this last week. We have a professional level and an executive level. And the reason we did that is we've been growing really quickly, and we realized that there's a group of professionals out there that need a less expensive option and want to work with fellow professionals. And then there's some executives who are looking for higher level coaching with sometimes more complex issues, and they want to network with fellow executives. So we created two levels that you can then check out. So be sure to click the link, check it out. If you have got questions about what's right for you, you can post them in the chat, or you can reach out to our support. But most importantly, if you sign up today with the discount code that I'm sharing because you attended office hours, you will get $10 off per month. So it makes it super, super affordable. And that's a reward for you coming here today. Okay. So enough about Work It Daily. Again, if you haven't checked us out, you should. We are the only career coaching community online. Affordable career coaching, total game changer. I know some of our members are on now, and they will vouch for us, okay? All right, enough with the advertising, down to business. I'm going to answer your questions today here. The way this works is you want to post the word question first, then write your question. That way I can read it out of all the chatter that's going on here back and forth. And I will do my best to answer the questions as they come in, but this chat does scroll really funny, folks. So that's part of the thing when you come to a free live stream on YouTube, some of the things there, but I'll do my best to answer what I can. That being said, if you want every question answered and answered by a pro, you simply join Work It Daily. And that way you will get your questions always answered. All right, so I'm going to start here and go down and look at this. So I've got a question from Magnetic Rose. Hey, Magnetic Rose. The question is it worth it if you have a safe full-time job with low pay? Is it worth the risk to consider a contract which converts later for much higher pay? So there's no yes or no answer here. The answer is it depends. What you need to do is take a look at both opportunities. So first of all, how much higher pay are we talking about? Is it enough higher pay that you could take all that additional pay that you'll be making and put it away for a rainy day, so that in the event the contract doesn't work out, you've got something to live off of while you're looking for a new opportunity? I mean, how much are we talking here, the difference between the low to high pay? Also, what kind of research have you done on this company that's offering a contract opportunity? For example, how long have they been in business? Why are they growing? Why are they seeking contractors? How many of their contractors in the past have converted to full-time? You know, can you meet some of the people that converted to full-time to see what they're like and what they felt it took to be successful? These are all things that you can totally explore, that I think the company would want you to explore and understand, because if they're saying they want you to come on contract and potentially go full-time, then they want you to make the right choice as well. So you've got some evaluation to do there. If this is a situation where you can move over, you're going to gain new skills, you can bank all that extra cash, and the chances look pretty good that you're going to go to contract, well, then it may be worth it. If not, then maybe you want to stick with that full-time job. But that being said, let me remind you of something that we talk about all the time here at Work It Daily, which is every job is temporary. This idea that you have full-time permanent employment is not true. You are an at-will employee. That company can fire you, lay you off, let you go tomorrow for no reason. So no job is safe. Don't think it is. Even the best companies wake up the next morning, there's something going on, and there are layoffs. In fact, a lot of companies these today, especially bigger companies, practice ritual laying off. In the fourth quarter of the year, they look at their business, and any businesses that aren't doing particularly well, divisions, they lay them off, and they use that money for something else. That's literally how a lot of companies do it. So you've got to ask yourself, is this full-time job really full-time? Is it really permanent? I don't think so. You could absolutely lose that job tomorrow. So you've got to think about that. Sounds to me like no matter what, you're looking for a better paying job. So having a really proactive job search strategy is the best solution for you so that you can weigh it out and maybe have multiple options and know that you're making the right decision. Okay? All right, great question. So let's see what else we've got here. Give me a second to take a look, my friends. Let's see. Let's see. What is the best way? Kristen Payton asks. Hey, Kristen, what is the best way to stay on track while working from home when tasks vary widely day by day? That is a great question. So, Kristen, one of the things that we suggest you do is just because you're working from home doesn't mean that you shouldn't set up a desk, a dedicated desk in place that you work. So you want to create workspace and also hours of operation. So you want to block off in your calendar that I am absolutely going to sit down from these times in the day to do my work. And you want to commit to that. And you want to get into a habit and a routine so that you're building your day around that. Otherwise, it can get really easy to get distracted, let your day get away from you. One of the most important things when you're a work from home individual is to understand when your peak productivity hours are. Some people are morning people. They can get up and bang out more work from 5:30 to 9:30 than they could the rest of the day. Others kick in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I am not one of those people. I do my best work during the day. After 3 o'clock, you really shouldn't ask me anything overly complex. It's just how it is. And so if I'm working from home, then I know that I'm going to schedule my time, block it off, and get it done in those peak productive hours for me in my ritual space, in my workspace without distraction. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Look at your cadence of your day, block off your time, and really create that workspace so that you're getting your mind and your body in the habit of doing this work on a consistent basis. I hope that helps. Okay. Let's see. So some questions here. So Malcolm is asking, does Work It Daily help with virtual or video interviews? We actually have an entire course dedicated to interview prep. People tell us that it's like stealing the opponent's playbook. Because yes, do we have a video that talks about phone screens and video interviewing? We have courses on both of those or modules on both of those. But the bigger picture is about your strategy in terms of how you answer and ask questions in an interview. This is what most people are getting wrong. I am amazed, candidly, amazed at the number of people out there that spend ridiculous amounts of money on having their resume done or their LinkedIn profile redone, which they'll never get back. But then they don't do any interview prep. So if you actually land an interview, thanks to that resume or that LinkedIn profile, are you prepared to nail the interview? And you need to be really good at interviewing before you start booking these interviews. Because a lot of times they call you up and say, can we see you tomorrow? Or, hey, can we talk to you on the phone today? And if you say no, forget it, you're gone. The recruiter's moving on to the next person. They got to fill that job. And if you're not willing to respond immediately, you're not going to get it. So folks, if you're actively job seeking right now, the resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, yeah, they're tools that you need. But the interview prep is something you need to be working on so that you are fully prepared should any opportunity arise for you to interview. So I think it's thinking much bigger picture than video or phone interview. It's about who I am as a professional and how am I articulating that value to employers. And we teach you in this class something called the Experience, Learn, and Grow model. So it's a way of answering questions that's very focused And I know this because as a former recruiter and as somebody who works with lots of recruiters now, I know what they're looking for in these answers, what they need to hear from you in order to pass you along to the hiring manager. And so that's what this course is about. So yes, we do help you on that and a lot of other fronts. Let's see. Christina. Hey, Christina says, should I go through temp agencies to obtain experience I currently don't have in order to eventually obtain a full-time permanent position I want, or should I continue interviewing for these full-time permanent positions without the experience and tell them in the interview stage that I'm a fast learner? That's a really great question. So a couple of things. It's never that clear cut. So Christina, first of all, you seem to be getting these interviews without the experience. So I think that's my first question is, what are you doing right that's getting you these interviews, but you don't have experience? And then the second thing is, how's that working for you when you tell them you're a quick learner? This is one of those examples of what I mean about that's not exactly the right answer to give. You actually need to tell them through your experiences how you've learned and grown and let me show you how I'm a fast learner. Let me show you how I have the transferable skills to do this job in spite of the fact that I don't have the hard experience. And that isn't you just saying, I can do it. I'm a fast learner. Recruiters don't buy that. They need to hear actual stories from your past, your professional past, that proves that you're a quick learner, that proves that you can transfer your skills. And this is what that course is going to pull out of you, but you have to pull that out of yourself. So that's the approach you would take if you keep doing that. Now, let me address your question about temp agencies. I'm actually a big fan of them when you can get hired in by them. I always tell this story about my sister-in-law. She was in New York City and she was changing careers. She was actually a runway model, and it was coming to the end of her runway model career, and she really wanted to get into business. Bright, bright woman. And so I said, why don't you temp and try on some companies? You try before you buy, and you go on these assignments and you see what kind of companies you like. And so she ended up on an assignment at a bank, and she ended up in an assignment in like an investment company and all these, different types of jobs in New York City. And eventually she went on assignment at this little TV network that was just starting out called the Discovery Channel. And she fell in love with the assignment, and they fell in love with her, and they offered her a full-time job, and the rest is history. Now she works for MTV. But I tell you that because those are the kinds of things that can happen when you get in and aligned with a temp agency. So my advice is, I think you're going to end up doing both. Why not go to the agency, see if they'll place you, see if you can't get that experience. You might just find a company and fall in love with them that way. But then also at the same time, keep doing what you're doing and going on those interviews, but get much better at the way you articulate your value to them so that you can prove that you have that experience, and that even though you don't have it on paper, that you have the skills and abilities to truly be a fast learner. Okay? Probably a lot more than you expected, but hey, these are the kinds of questions we're looking for here. There's a reason you need coaching. There's more to these answers. They're not yes and no. They're not black and white. All right. Let's see. So Anne says, is it advisable? Would you advise to outline the total hours expected per week up front in a written agreement? I've been told the opportunity can vary based on project work. So yes, Anne, if you are ever negotiating any kind of contract or full-time opportunity, it's very important that you get clear on the hours they're expecting you to work. Because if they say 40 and you get in there and it's 60, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? Absolutely. I also think it's important to ask a few different sources. So when you're in the interview process, you ask the recruiter, how many hours a week is it? And they give you a number. Then you get with the hiring manager. How many hours a week is it? Then you interview a potential colleague or coworker. How many hours a week are you working? And then take an average, because somewhere in there is probably the right answer. So I absolutely think it's very normal to ask that and get clear on that. And on contract work, especially if you're an independent contractor, they have to pay you for every hour. So if they're saying the job should only take 40 hours and then you're finding out it takes 60, what's happening there? Because you're going to have to charge them for the extra 20 hours, and that all has to be clear and upfront. So hours are definitely something to consider, and don't just ask one person. Don't take one person's word for it. Ask multiple people in order to figure out what the accuracy is. Let's see. Kristen says, can you negotiate a contract rate in the same manner as a salary? Absolutely. Absolutely. So contract rates, keep in mind, folks, and this is becoming more common, they're saying by 2020, as much as half the working population is going to have some form of contract work, whether it's their main job or a side hustle. Now, contract work means you're not a W-2 employee. They're not pulling your taxes out for you. You're getting paid a flat rate, and it's on you to pull out those taxes. And so when you become a contractor, you truly are a business of one. We believe all of you out there are businesses of one. You should treat yourself like a business of one. You should market yourself, manage yourself like a business of one. But if you're an independent contractor, you truly are, because you've got to figure out your taxes, your expenses, all of it. And so if you're getting a contract rate, you have to think about all those other things that you have to pay. So historically, contract rates are going to be maybe anywhere from 130 to 170% of what your hourly rate would be if you were a full-time worker, because you have to compensate for all of those other things. And it really varies, it definitely depends. So you want to do your homework on this. You can go over to sites like Glassdoor and their Know Your Worth calculator, look at contract rates for various areas of the country. So you making sure you're asking the right rate for the right skill level. But this is something you do want to negotiate. Now, if they say it's non-negotiable, sometimes companies come to you folks and say it is non-negotiable. This is what we pay. And then you have to ask yourself, are you okay with that? But then maybe you're even going to say, all right, if the pay is non-negotiable, are there some other attributes of this that are negotiable? Like, the hours that you work, the location that you work, working from home, things like that. So it's always worth finding out what is negotiable and what isn't, and then working from that position. All right. So Kirby says, let me see here. Actually, Erica first. Erica says, I've just been offered a job with an amazing nonprofit, which I have accepted. Now they're asking for my references, which I'm not really worried about, but I find kind of odd. Is it normal to ask for references after extending the offer? What are the chances they could rescind the offer? There's always a chance they can rescind the offer, Erica. Until you actually start that job on that day, they can rescind the offer and you have no recourse. You could start the job and a week into it, they can say, we decided this isn't a fit, right? I mean, they can at any time. You're not any kind of union employee. You're an at-will employee at a nonprofit. I think checking the references is generally a formality. My guess is that the nonprofit has a system and says, look, everybody we hire, references need to be checked, etc. I certainly do a lot of work with nonprofits, and that's definitely the case. You're not worried, so I think it's fine. That being said, I certainly wouldn't resign from your current job until the references have been checked and everything's good to go. So I would just wait on that. But this is not uncommon. It's normal. And it's something that everyone here should pay attention to when they're looking for work, because references will get checked. All right. Kirby says, what do we use a matrix for measuring when an email with the cover letter and resume has been delivered and read? Okay, I'm not sure what you're asking there, Kirby. I think maybe there was a typo there. Can you rephrase that for me? Not really sure what that means. Let's see. Excellent. All right. And I see my folks up there. They're putting the Glassdoor salary, Know Your Worth salary calculator up there, which is fantastic. Again, just a reminder for everybody that we're putting up a special rate for you today. If you check out the discount code in the live chat for attending today, you can get $10 off per month on our new programs. We have a professional level and an executive level. Awesome opportunity. No setup fee. Cancel at any time. Just a great way for you to get your questions answered one-on-one in our private community by our coaches. And then also for you to have conversations private, not out in the social media world, with other professionals just like yourself who are experiencing the same challenges. Really, really great opportunity to take advantage of today. Okay. All right. Let's go back to Kirby's question. How do we determine if an email with the cover letter and resume has been delivered and read? Oh, great question. So Kirby, sometimes people will use a tool within Microsoft Office, if you have that as your email platform, that will notify you when an email has been opened. So you might want to turn that feature on. Most people don't, though. Most people are working in Gmail. And so you really don't know. So our advice is anytime you send something like that is to wait 1 business week, so 5 business days, and never on a Monday. Okay, Mondays is everyone's first day back to work. Everyone's got the Monday morning blues. We call it the weekend flu. They're getting back into the groove. You wait till Tuesday, and then you can send a follow-up email. And what we suggest is you say, I just wanted to be proactive and see if there was anything else I could do to further my candidacy for the X position. I would really love to earn an opportunity to interview. So you're just going to send a simple note. After that, you can wait 1 more business week. Then it's a phone call. Then it's calling the organization and saying, again, I just wanted to follow up. I'm highly interested in the XYZ opportunity. Just wanted to see if there was anything else I could do to further my candidacy. After that, you're going to wait about 2 weeks and you're going to try 1 more time by email. And if you don't hear anything by then, you put it on the back burner. I can tell you, sometimes companies can take a couple of months to even respond. And you just won't know. That's how it works. And I know people get frustrated by that, but it is what it is. You're a business of one, selling your services. Selling is hard business. Rejection is part of the process. So just follow the follow-up and then take it from there, okay? But the most important thing is don't have a job crush. I see this all the time. People send an application into one company and they go, oh, okay, I want that job so bad, even though they don't know anything about the job and they haven't interviewed yet. And they go, I don't want to apply anyplace else because what would I do? I'm just going to wait till I hear from this company. Bad idea, folks. 97% of people that apply online never hear anything, ever. And that's because they're weeded out of the applicant tracking system. So the better thing for you to do is to be thinking about a bucket list of companies. And this is what we teach you. One of our classes is called the Job Search Plan. It's a step-by-step plan. We teach you how to create a bucket list and then how to network with that bucket list of potential employers. This way you avoid job crush. You do not want to have a job crush because then when it doesn't work out and you wasted a month waiting around to see if you'd ever hear from this company, now you've pushed your whole job search back another month. And job search takes time, right? There's two sides involved here, the client, aka the employer, and you, the business. So that does take some time. So please create a bucket list, work the plan. All right. Among the various job portals, which ones are the best and most effective? Okay, so job boards across the board are not effective. Again, you're applying and so is everyone else. Job boards are the lazy person's job search today. There was a time when they were new on the scene. I mean, the first time Monster and Career Builder were built, they were amazing. But now everybody uses them and people, we call it spray and pray. People get on there and just apply to anything. And what that does is stuff the inboxes of these recruiters. On top of that, if the recruiters don't see what they need to see in your resume, you're not being considered. And because they get so many applications now, there's automated filters. So it says if they don't have these 5 things, and if they didn't answer these 5 things on the application, then just delete them. So job boards as a whole do not work. I'm telling you right now. There are tools that are useful for you in the process. So let's say you come across a job posting at a company that you really like. A site like LinkedIn is going to give you the names of the people that work there and an opportunity to invite them to connect so that potentially you could ask them for advice on, hey, I'm really impressed with your work and your history. You're working at XYZ company. Can you tell me a little bit about what you think it takes to get hired there? So you can use LinkedIn as a way to research the opportunity. You can also use sites like Glassdoor to research what other people are saying about what it's like to work there, to understand the culture and the environment and what's expected of you in the interview process. So those 2 sites, they're not just job boards. They have way more to them. They have job postings, so it's always okay to go look there. But really the value of those sites has to do in the information that they provide you about potential employers. As far as applying goes, your best bet is to use your network. We know that majority of jobs are gotten through referral and not direct referral. We're going to call these soft referrals. And let me explain what that means. So LinkedIn did a study and it says, gee, over 80% of all jobs are gotten via referral, but you should have a little star next to that because it's not a direct referral. It's not one of your closest friends and family who refer you into a job. What it is that one of your friends, family, colleague knows somebody at a company you're interested in. And you ask them to pass you along to get introduced to that person. And they think, why not? I can pass you along. I don't work at that company. You still got to get the job. No problem. That's what we call as a soft referral. And that is how the majority of jobs are being gotten these days. So that's why having a network is so important. It's that 6 degrees of separation that's working in your favor. And that's what you need to be focused on right now. I cannot endorse or advise anyone here. I do not, our courses do not advise anyone to sit there and apply all day long online because it is an absolute waste of your time. Not to mention it's really just demotivating and depressing. What's far more rewarding and really satisfying, and I know I've got some of my Work It Daily members here to vouch for me, is when you create a bucket list based on the criteria that we help you create, you create a strategy, you start this networking process, you land an interview with your dream employer, and you take control and get that job. Seriously, best part of my job at Work It Daily is when I go into the online coaching and, I go to answer a career coaching question from someone. And instead it's like, hey, JT, just want to tell you and the team that I just got that dream job at Apple. I mean, this stuff happens for us or Amazon or wherever. I mean, we've had people, land jobs all over the place and they took control. So no job boards for you. Take control of your job search. It is far more rewarding. You feel so much more empowered when you do that. All right. So let's see. Question from Todd. Would you make any changes to the Work It Daily resume template for executives? So it's very interesting. We have a professional template that I have all executives fill out. The difference is once an executive has built their resume in our format, then myself and the coaches are going to get a lot deeper into what this executive's real specialty is and what kind of roles they're looking for. And what we change is the verbiage. We're going to change what they say in the headline. We're going to be more selective about what they put in the key skill sets. We're also going to think more strategically about what they choose to put in the top fold, because it's very important when you're an executive. It's very, very important these days to let the facts do all the talking. One of the big mistakes I see executives make, all my executives out there, is they come to me and they have this ridiculously fluffy resume. You all know what I'm talking about. It's this fancy font that's impossible to read. It's these long-winded paragraphs. It's written in the third person. It is visually overwhelming, and I'm supposed to be blown away and impressed by it, and I'm not. You know what recruiters see? Wah, 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 wah. This person's trying to impress me. They're not as great as they say they are. They're trying too hard. Executives shouldn't have time for a fluffy resume. Executives are about numbers and results. If they can simplistically show that they delivered, that's the executive that people want to hire. Also, let me just explain something. Less is more on an executive resume. If you give them everything you've ever done and they don't see the one thing they need you to be able to do, you're in the no pile. But if you simplify it down, here's what's going to happen as an executive. You're going to get a call from an executive recruiter and they're going to say, yeah, Todd, I need to talk to you because I see some stuff here, but clearly your resume doesn't have enough information on it. Clearly you've done more than this. Really, you need to beef up this resume. Can you do this, 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 and this? And of course, Todd now has the recruiter on the phone and can say, of course I can do this, this, and this. I did that here and here and here and here. And you know what? Todd doesn't change his resume a lick. You know why? Because the resume did its job. It gave just enough information to make the executive recruiter want to contact Todd. And now Todd is on the phone and can say what needs to be said in order to move to the next level. Folks, that's the real purpose of a resume, whether you're an executive, professional, whoever. It is not to overkill the reader. There has to be this proper balance. And that's what we teach you how to do. And for executives, and that's why our executive program, we really realized we needed to separate it out. For executives, we found that we had to get a little bit deeper into how they present that. It's a little bit more labor intensive because they have so much experience that they want to share. But the truth is they actually have to weed it out. They have to prune it back like a bonsai tree in order for it to look a very certain way in order to get that reaction. So great question, Todd. Hope that helps. Let's see. Okay. Mario. Hey, Mario. I'm a graduate of chemical engineer, and I went to 6 interviews and sent my CV to everyone in my city, in my capital city, and had experience, but I did not get hired. Any advice? Yeah. So, Mario, you went on 6 interviews, but my question is, how many informational interviews did you do? So one of the things that is a requirement when you're a recent graduate, for all my recent graduates out there, is for you to do what we call informational interview bingo. Informational interview bingo. So I want you to fill out a bingo card. All right. So you've got, and what you want to do is you want to pick, say, 10 companies, right? And then 3 people, maybe 5 people at each company. And you want to try to set up informational interviews. And this is where you go to them and you say, I'm not looking for you to get me a job. I'm looking to understand how you got where you are in your career. What have been the mistakes that you made that you think I could learn from? What have been the successes that you've achieved? What's your advice when trying to get a job? You need to go and meet with these people because this is how you're going to start to build your foundational network within the organizations that you want to work for. Again, you're not ever asking for a job. You're learning from them. You're putting them on a pedestal and saying, you're a successful professional and I want to be someone like you someday. So I want to learn from you. What this does is give you lots of insight into the organizations that they work for, how to stand out. And in that process, if you play bingo, if you meet with enough people, those individuals are going to eventually recommend you for jobs because you're going to stay in touch with them. Once a month, you're going to send them an article and say, hey, I saw this. And, based on the conversation we had, I thought you'd find it interesting. When you are a recent grad, you have got to nurture those relationships, knowing that one day they're going to hear about an entry-level job and say, I should, refer Mario. I had that nice meeting with Mario. He seems like a great guy. He could do this job. That's how you get those jobs. This is what I mean about expanding your network and that soft referral. Okay, so Mario, go back to the drawing board and focus on the informational interviews. Play a little bingo with yourself. You got to increase that in order to get that exposure. All right, let's see. Florisa says, what's your advice if you've already a part of an organization and just relocating with the same company? Do we still have to network with a person at the new location? Yes, absolutely. Florisa, most definitely. Something that I've learned about moving from one location to another is that the cultures of companies are often not the same. And there is an overall corporate culture that companies have, and then there's a departmental culture. And you could have this one type of departmental culture where you are now. You could go to the new place and it could be entirely different. And you know whose responsibility it is to integrate themselves into that new culture? Yours. So you need to reach out and connect with people and start to get a sense of what that's like, ask for pointers and tips so that you can make a good impression. It's funny, one of the classes that we have inside our platform is called the First 90 Days, and it's a self-onboarding class. What do I mean by that? Anytime you take a new job, there's an onboarding phase where you're integrating yourself into the organization. And we know from studies in HR that the first 90 days are the most crucial. The better you do in integrating yourself in those 90 days, the better your chances for promotion and retention at that company. They are defining what they think about you. In that area, they're either going to say that you're not meeting expectations, you're okay, you're meeting expectations, or wow, you're exceeding expectations. You want to exceed expectations in the first 90 days because then they're starting to think about you for other things, for growth, for stability. So that's something that I would advise you to think about. Going there, just because you work for the same company, this isn't an easy transition. This is a brand new job with a brand new departmental culture, and it's your job to integrate. Okay? All right. All right, team, I'm going to take one more question, and then it's my time to sign off for today. So let's see. Question from Priya. Priya says, how do you sell your business of one to our connections to make them offer us a job being a recent graduate? You're not selling your experience, Priya. You don't have any. What you lack in experience, you make up for enthusiasm and education. So here's what's really important. I mean, everyone that's looking for work today should have a bucket list. It is a bucket list of employers that you admire. And there's some criteria that you need to evaluate them on, which we teach you in our class. Once you have a bucket list, especially if you're a recent grad, you're going to those companies and you're writing what we call disruptive cover letters. And these are the introductions explaining why you are so passionate about that company and the kind of work that they do. You have to show that even though you don't have life experience or work experience, you have experienced something in your life that has taught you that what they do is better, faster, cheaper, whatever. You have to identify on some way, some emotional level with that employer. And you have to convey that emotion to them. And you have to tell stories that prove that you're not just saying that you really mean it. Because if you walk up to a company and say, I really love your company, I think you're awesome, they're going to go, great, sure, everyone says that. Anyone could say that. But if you say instead, I remember the first time I used your product and it changed my life. Let me tell you what happened and let me tell you why I'm now a lifelong fan and would love the chance to work for your company. Guess who I'm going to interview? I'm going to interview that person because they just proved to me that they weren't BSing me. They really do have a connection to my company. And probably the hardest thing about this, because we have so many job seekers in our platform and Work It Daily, is getting them to wrap their heads around this concept that somewhere in there's a connection. You should not be applying to a company if you don't feel some source of connection to them in some way. And it might be the product that they sell, or it might just be your passion for the work that you're going to be doing. But you have to start to find that, pull that out, and share that. But I will tell you, and our members will vouch, that once you learn how to do this, it is the secret sauce. People are saying to me all the time, JT, I just got a call from a recruiter, said it was the best cover letter they ever read. And that's because it is, because instead of this boring cover letter that says nothing, you are taking the time to share your story and introduce yourself and build a connection with that employer. And it's instant. They see the difference in you, and that's how you get the interview. So if you're a young recent grad, it's about a bucket list, and it's about creating disruptive cover letters and sharing them around why those companies made it on your bucket list. Okay? All right. Very good. Okay, team. Great job today. We're here every Wednesday for 30 minutes. So if you enjoyed this session, you know what to do. First of all, subscribe to our channel. click the little bell, get the notifications too. So, just hit the subscribe button up there, but also hit the bell, and that will remind you when we go live and when we produce new content. But more importantly, if you're like, dang it, JT, I didn't get my question answered, or I've got 10 more questions, then you need to join Work It Daily. And we just gave you a discount code to do that. Literally, for the professional level, it's less than $1 a day. Less than $1 a day, folks. And you are going to work with myself and a team of experts in our online chat. We're going to get your answers to your questions. We're going to look at your resume and your cover letter and your LinkedIn profile and your interview prep. We're going to walk you through your salary negotiations, everything inside there. And you're going to be with the coolest group of people you've ever met. You know why? Because we all share the same thing. A bunch of career-minded individuals that are investing in themselves, that want to better themselves, that want to be a business of one and take control. So you're going to be with a really great group of people if you join, okay? All right. Well, there you have it. Thanks so much for coming by to Office Hours. I will see you all next Wednesday. All right. Until next time, folks, remember this. If you want to win, you've got to work it daily.